Hey everyone, how's it going? Thanks so much for tuning in. In today's video, we're getting some custom bay doors installed on the new shop. Just in case you haven't seen the last episode, I decided to build a new shop next to my current shop in order to expand the content that I'm able to bring to the channel for 2021. Not just with projects, but car reviews as well. So it's going to be a lot of work for sure, and a pretty substantial investment into the channel, but I think it's going to be well worth it. I've run out of space in the old shop, so if I want to work on multiple projects, I kind of got to figure something out anyway. But I put the link to the last episode in the description below. It was just awesome watching the crew put this structure up. I mean, just absolutely cool. So definitely check it out when you get a chance. Aesthetically, my goal for the shop is to make it look like an old school service station. So with these bay doors that I think are actually here now, we move a little bit closer to achieving that goal. The company that I ordered this building from didn't have any other door options aside from the standard roll-up doors that you would typically find in a metal building, just like the ones that I have in my old shop. They don't fit the look that I'm going for, they wouldn't be insulated, and they wouldn't allow any light to come in. The good plus with a roll-up door though is that it stays, rolled up right there instead of coming into the shop, but I'm not worried about that. I ended up contacting Marvin's Garage Doors in East Bend, North Carolina, and they had the perfect doors. So I'm gonna end up getting insulated doors that are black on the outside and have windows from top to bottom. So they're gonna look awesome. The backs of the doors are gonna be white. So my plan is, once I figure out what I'm doing for insulation, is to hang up white metal walls with possibly a two-tone black section down below here. So being that that's white, it'll work out pretty good. So these are actually the doors I was originally thinking of for the shop. They're aluminum, they have smaller grids, and a lot more glass. Just beautiful doors, but they were just too far out of my budget, so I didn't really pursue it that much further. But come to find out, these doors are not insulated. So if I go through the effort of spray foaming the entire shop, which is also very expensive, it would be counterproductive to put 3 giant non-insulated doors on there. So I'm actually very happy I ended up going with the doors that I did, because again, they are fully insulated and they still have a ton of glass. I love how they look. I mean, it worked out great. I am so freaking ecstatic over these doors. They are absolutely stunning. Wow. So the guys just broke for lunch while I wait for him to come back. Let me talk about some of my content plans for 2021. I talked about this some in the last video, but I figured I would reiterate and clarify some stuff just so you guys have a better idea of my intentions for next year. Obviously, with the shop, my big focus is the project content, to be able to make content production a little bit easier and, you know, more fun than it is now, because I've just run out of space and it's gotten really difficult to just work on one project. But I do realize that there are a number of you that don't really care for the project content and miss the car reviews. So that's why I poured this big pad, or oversized pad, in front of the new shop, is to give me a nice filming area for filming the car reviews. I am scheduled to start taking some press cars in December. I'm not sure when or what vehicles are going to be coming, but I just wanted to give you guys a heads up on that, especially as this shop starts to take shape with the whole old school service station vibe. It's going to give it a really cool backdrop, so I'm excited to start getting to work here. The thing is, I've always been passionate about older vehicles. It's just who I am, and YouTube has given me an awesome platform to be able to explore that passion and do something that I truly enjoy. With the car reviews, you know, I used to do all sorts of different, you know, videos on just the most random cars out there, but you know, it's gotten old trying to hustle around the dealerships. You know, taking the press cars is fun, and again, I'm going to start doing that again, but on a personal note, I just feel like so many new vehicles nowadays are so derivative and generic. Like, it's hard to find a vehicle that just has, like, a soul. Like, if that makes sense. I don't know. Like, cars from, you know, 50, 60, even 70 years ago just had so much character, and the styling and the cool technology that was coming out at that time. You know, it wasn't like, you know, the driver assistance technology that we see nowadays, but it was like true, like, mechanical innovation, like really cool stuff. And I just love learning about that, because, you know, it's kind of dying off, unfortunately. So I'm trying to explore my passion of the older vehicles and learn how to restore and tackle all of the, you know, what am I trying to say? All of the stuff that goes into restoration, because it's a tremendous amount of work, and it's not even, it's all the little details of things that you just don't think about. And I've learned a lot over the last few years about how all of those little details can really mess you up sometimes. But I hope to be able to get more into the restoration stuff long term, whether that be through YouTube or outside of YouTube. I don't know, but I just know that, you know, as stressful as this can be sometimes, at the end of the day, it's incredibly rewarding when you get to experience the fruits of all of that labor and stress, like the 240. The 240, you know, always is going to have its little, you know, quirks and stuff that need to be worked through. I've been working through little things on the S10 and stuff, but when you get in the seat and go out for a drive, you know, all smiles. Unless there's a problem. But anyway, let me show you a couple things that I've picked up in the last few months to give you an idea of some of the things that I have ideas about for the future. I do plan on filming a full tour video on this car at some point, so I don't want to show you guys too much, but this is a 1949 Studebaker Commander Starlight Coupe. It's a very cool and very uncommon car. I've never seen one in person, and it was kind of a random purchase. I didn't need it, but I saw it and I was like, that's amazing. I had to have it. It makes me smile. I don't know what else to say. It's also a very complete car. It's missing a bunch of the stainless trim at the moment because I took everything off, or a lot of it off, to take to a local guy that does stainless polishing and dent removal. So here's some pictures of what it looked like when I first bought it. Again, very, very cool car, but I'm not sure what my intentions are for the car. I don't have any timeline as far as wanting to, get into a restoration or anything like that. This is way on down the line. At the moment, I'm kind of just going to use it as a prop for the new shop to fit the whole vintage service station vibe. And I actually found an original Studebaker service sign from 1949, so that's pretty amazing. I'll end up hanging it somewhere around the car, wherever I decide to put it. But I don't know, it's a really, really neat car. Whenever I look at it, I just can't help but smile. The trouble with wanting to restore something like this is that it's not like a TriFive Chevy where you can buy every little piece to rebuild the car from the ground up. It's tricky finding parts for these, and I've gotten really, really lucky with finding a bunch of new old stock, like body panels and interior trim pieces, so I'm not too worried about that for now. It's a very solid car overall as far as the frame and whatnot. It's got some body rot, all the typical stuff of these cars, like trunk pan and the rockers, like that one's laying on the ground right there because it's worse than Swiss cheese. But I'm really, really excited about what this car could become one day because, one of the jokes from back in the day was, the car had an identity crisis. It didn't know if it was coming or going because you got this big wraparound window back here, and at certain angles, the back end almost looks like the front end. So it's just a neat, quirky, weird car that, it's just from a time where it was so far ahead, and we're just not going to see anything like this again, and that makes me sad, but I'm also really fortunate to have come across something like this, and I don't know. Time will tell. We'll see how it goes, but I do really, really want to restore this at some point. Here's another one of my recent acquisitions. I'm really excited to introduce this to the channel officially at some point, but I'm just not there yet. This is a 1989 Chevrolet K5 Blazer that runs and drives great. It definitely needs some cosmetic love, but the guys just got back from lunch, so I'll go ahead and let them finish installing all of the doors, and then I'll talk about this some more. Well, the first spring is in place. All right. Well, the doors are finished and they turned out fantastic. The guys just left. The only downside with using this type of door for a shop is overall clearance. So even though I've got 14-foot walls, the tracks are about 10.5 feet off the ground, which for how I'm wanting to design this shop, that really wasn't a big deal. I'm exploring different lift options, so there's still plenty of choices available. Obviously, you would have all of the clearance in the world if you just got the traditional roll-up doors, but again, it's just not the direction I wanted to take, and I'm really, really happy with how these turned out. They are absolutely beautiful. The only thing that I might still do later on is add some motors. They actually make some motors that go on the side of the bar where the spring is, so it won't take up even more space in the middle of here like a traditional garage door opener. So that would be pretty cool, after the electric's done later on. But to be honest, with how they, I guess adjusted the tension on the springs. These doors are really not that hard to open, so not too concerned with it right now. That made the shop. It's really coming together now. Very nice. All right, I'm pretty much done here, but before I close the video out, let me give you guys a quick peek at the Blazer. Just like the Studebaker, I plan on filming a full video on this at some point, so I'll keep you guys up to date on that. My next big focus is going to be the Chevelle. So right now, I've made a lot of progress on the 240SX. I'm probably going to take another break on that for a little while and try to wrap up the S10 and introduce the Chevelle. Well, I already did an intro video back in July or something, but I'm actually going to start working on the car, so I'm very excited about that. So stay tuned and subscribe if you haven't already, because that's going to be a really fun project. But when the S10 is completed or pretty much done as far as the channel is concerned, I want to introduce the Blazer. And of course, that all depends on the progress or where I'm currently at with the Chevelle. These are definitely getting harder to find when it comes to finding one that's decent for a reasonable price. This one is in really good shape overall. Underpinnings and everything are really, really good. It does have some body rot, so I'm gonna have to replace things like some floor pans and fenders and yada, yada, yada. But thankfully, parts for these are a lot easier to find than Studebaker parts, so I'm not too worried about it. This was actually a one-owner truck. It's got about 151,000 miles on it, a fuel-injected or throttle body fuel-injected 350. It runs and drives really, really good. I've actually driven it quite a bit. It has a 31-gallon fuel tank, which was actually standard. So that's pretty incredible. When gas prices drop, I can stock up on this, even though it probably gets like 13 miles to a gallon. But these are very special, I think, and they're getting more and more popular, just like C10s, just because there's nothing else like it. And the new Blazer Chevrolet came out with is nothing like these, unfortunately. So it just makes them cooler and even more special in my eyes. So this will be a fun project whenever the time comes. I'm not sure the direction I'm going to take on it yet, but I'm very, very happy I came across this. I actually bought an 86 Chevy C10 long bed about a year and a half ago, and I was going to do something with that on the channel, but I decided not to because everybody seems to really like the short beds, and it was kind of rough, like lots and lots of dents and everything, and it wasn't worth it. So I'm glad I gave up on that in favor of this. I'd much, much, much rather restore or do whatever on one of these Blazers, because they're just awesome. Well, everyone, that's going to wrap it up for this video. I hope y'all enjoyed. Please don't forget to leave a like below. I really appreciate it. It helps the videos a lot. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.